What's going on, guys? ShadowNinja here, and today let's talk about Battlefield 2042. This is definitely, if you guys have not noticed, I have talked about Battlefield in the past, but it has been such a long time that this may be random. But yeah, we have reached the point of Battlefield 2042 cycle where I should talk about it again, because today it was announced that Season 7 of 2042 will be the last official season for the game, pretty much ending content support for the title itself as they move forward and look towards the future of the next iteration in the franchise. Now, in an official statement here, while we've enjoyed and are proud of creating these seasons of additional content for Battlefield 2042, it is now necessary for us to turn from the present to the future. What this ultimately means is that Season 7 will serve as the final season for Battlefield 2042. After Season 7 concludes, we will continue to support the game with new in-game challenges, events, modes, and of course, ongoing maintenance, but we are moving away from delivering official seasons. We know this news may be disappointing. However, as we look at what the future of the series required, it became clear it was time for us to shift our resources and focus to be fully dedicated to what comes next. As I've mentioned in previous updates, we have an ambitious vision to embrace and unlock the vast potential of the series' class-based squad play and immersive, intense battles. So, for one, I just want to make this clear when it comes to me personally and the game itself of Battlefield 2042, I didn't love this game. I quickly turned on it and I tried to, I thought the maps were pretty awesome in scale, but the more you played, the more you realize that none of this was play tested and it's just horribly designed, all that stuff. But I pretty much viewed Battlefield 2042 as the last straw when it came to the franchise of me being optimistic or hopeful for the future. Now, some things have changed, good and bad. For example, Vincent Pella has been, appointed lead of the franchise to make sure it gets on track, which I think is a great decision because what was going on before was not it. But at the same time, we have seen notable people leave DICE and leave the circle of working on Battlefield, whether that's the studio that was put in place to be the focus of the narrative. The co-creator of Halo was tied to that, and then he left, and then the studio got shut down with the layoffs from EA and all that stuff. So yeah, it's been a wild ride since Battlefield 2042 is released, and I view this news to me as the cycle is continuing. And what I mean by that is this is right when things are seemingly getting better for the game, when it comes to the people that play it, the sentiment around it, EA decides to bring a hatchet and they say this same line over and over. And it's pretty much this one. We know the news may be disappointing. However, we looked at what the future of the series required. It became clear it was time for us to shift our resources and focus to be fully dedicated to what comes next. You guys remember that line when we talked about what it took to, launch Battlefield 2042? They needed to bring in all these different studios. They delayed different games, and we saw the crap that came out. When they say stuff like that again, it doesn't bring newfound optimism. I know people may have hated this game and they're excited for the cycle to end and they want something new and hopefully something better. But again, everything being said here is just repeating the structure and the cycle that Battlefield has been plagued in for at least the last few installments. And I do think the last great Battlefield game that I loved was Battlefield 4. And ever since then, it's kind of just been a declining shell of itself. For example, again, I have not been playing the seasons. I've jumped back here and there, but one thing that has become abundantly clear is that the production pipeline of what Battlefield is doing does not match the requirements of a live service game. Now, it is very important to mention this. Call of Duty is in its own realm. They have their own studios. They have 10 different studios working on the game. They have their own different commitment from their own different publisher, you may say. But one thing that really does help with the flow of Call of Duty is the constant content updates we are getting. Whether they're high quality, whether they're low quality, they're a content update, which means that Call of Duty is making a splash in the news cycle, is making a splash with the community and the player base, where they're constantly playing their games. Right now with Battlefield 2042, I think the sentiment around the game has been awfully positive. I think people have felt like this is a playable game, despite my frustrations with the foundational flaws that makes this game unplayable in my opinion for me. I admit that people are having fun with it. So why are we just ending support for the game? This is a great place to continue the name recognition of Battlefield and hopefully good sentiment around the game, but instead of continuing that leading into the new game, you're going to end it and leaving the Battlefield name to be quiet for months, if not years, until the next iteration. We're talking like it could be a year or two before we get to play Battlefield again. At least new content for Battlefield in the realm of a new installment. That is just shitty marketing. This is a live service. We need constant updates. You need to change something, and maybe this is the change. Maybe this is the last time we get something like this before they knock it out the park with the next Battlefield installment. But again, the quality of their live service updates with these seasons has been lackluster compared to other games out there. It is pretty clear that they haven't restructured anything when it comes to how they approach making content, so it leaves an outdated pipeline for a live service, where it's crazy to say that DLC expansions and updates for example, Battlefield 4 were way more impactful than any live service season for Battlefield that they've ever tried to do. We're talking, I think, a point where within a year and a half, we saw 4 DLC updates, each having 4 maps with Battlefield 4 and their own weapons. It's kind of insane that we would think that garnered less content than live service seasons, but in reality, the live service seasons has garnered less content than DLC expansions. To be fair, the resources required to make games and assets for games have changed, but that's just the state we are right now with Battlefield, and hopefully with the next installment, things change and things like that. But yeah, I don't view this news as optimism or hopefully a change of pace. I view this as the same old, and they're going to still have to prove a lot more for me to be optimistic once again for the future of this franchise. Because I'll be honest, for me personally, I'm at an all-time low with this game, and it's not entertaining at all. But besides that, leave your thoughts on the news. I will definitely be posting more Battlefield content when it comes to news, updates, and things like that as we gear up for the next installment. I can't promise when those videos will be, but I am telling you now, I am fully committed to what's to come next and the information we get following that, because I want the next one to be a win. I just won't be as positive as I have been in the past, because I feel like they have took all that positivity about this IP out of me and they lost my trust. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video and found this video informative, be sure to drop this video a like. Helps out the video a ton. For more content from me, whether it's Battlefield news updates as we get them as they go, Rainbow Six Siege, Destiny 2, Call of Duty, if any of that sounds intriguing to you, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell to be notified when I do drop that content on those games. But until then, I hope you guys have a good one. ShadowNinja here, and I'm out.